watching India Today.
Presented by PNB Housing Finance. In association with Standard, built for younger energy.
Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. This afternoon, the suspended BJP MP Kirti Azad filed a case in court accusing the Delhi District Cricket Association of mismanagement and corruption. For its part, the DDCA has already made clear that they intend to file a defamation suit against Mr. Azad. So tonight, as the dispute between Kirti Azad and the DDCA once again rises to the boil, we ask, how credible and substantial are the allegations Mr. Azad is making, and how solid and convincing is the DDCA's defense? This evening, we present a unique debate where you can judge both sides by what they have to say about each other as well as about themselves. In studio, my guest is former cricketer and MP Kirti Azad. And joining us by OB is the working president of the DDCA and a former BJP MP, Chetan Chauhan. Kirti Azad, today you filed a case in the Delhi High Court accusing the DDCA of mismanagement and embezzlement. Briefly, before we come to the substance that you're making, why have you taken this step?
Well, we just now, Justice Mudgil submitted a report, which is a reflection of all that we've been saying for the last 10 years about the malfeasance, the monumental apathy, phenomenal incompetence, and colossal kleptocracy that has crept into the DDCA, with fake companies being paid. And all those records I have through RTIs, through a very good friend, Mr. Subhash Agarwal, and through letters that I have gotten.
So you are bringing the DDCA to justice by filing this case?
Yes, because I have been writing so many times to the Honorable President, the then President, Mr. Arun Jaitley, and all of us, so many of us, like Bishan Singh Bedi, Maninder Singh and others have gone. But by the way, before you go forward, in the Memorandum of Associations and Articles of Association, there is no place for non-executive president or working president.
All right. Let me bring in Chetan Chauhan at that point. Mr. Chauhan, you have already told the press that the DDCA plans to file a defamation case against Kirti Azad. When do you propose to do that? Because so far, you've only talked about it, but you haven't acted.
Well, see, there are in two ways we want to move in. One is a civil matter and the other is the criminal matter. The civil matter is already filed, and the criminal matter, I think in a day or two, I think that should also be done.
So you will be filing a criminal case in the hope that if you win, you can send Kirti Azad to jail. Is that right?
Well, see, we don't. I will not say that. It is just that we would like to get the facts right, and also to say our side, to give our side of the story too.
But you are determined to file a criminal case. You are not going to back out of filing that criminal defamation case.
No, I just now said that we will be filing, and we will be filing.
Okay.
Well, it will not be against one person, it will be against two persons.
Let's then, gentlemen, at this point come to the principal allegations and accusations that you, Kirti Azad, are making against the DDCA. Your colleague, Sameer Bahadur, has given me a list of 23 accusations and allegations. I'm holding them up here. This is that sheet listing those accusations. I want to go through the main ones. First of all, you say the DDCA hosted 55 matches during the last 10 years, and each and every one of them was played at a loss. In comparison, you say Justice Mudgil supervised the last test match against South Africa at very short notice, and he produced a 2 crore profit. What is the point you're making with that comparison?
This is a test match. You don't find big companies coming in to sponsor. Time was too short. Justice Mudgil was only given about 15 days, less than 15 days to organize this game. Subsidized the food, the rates were very low. 8,500 children from Delhi school, underprivileged children, were given an opportunity to come and watch the game free of cost.
Yet he made a 2 crore profit.
Yet he made a 2 crore profit.
So what are you suggesting about DDCA and the 55 matches where they made no profit, they made a loss in fact?
All were mostly IPL games. You get 6 crores of rupees, that is 2.5 crore rupees from the board, and you collect your own 3.5 lakh of rupees every match, that is 6 crores of rupees, and the bills that were shown were 6 crores, 69 expenditure, and that was a loss.
Is the point you're making is that the DDCA were mismanaging and corrupt, which is why those 55 games made a loss?
Yes, 2011 we had the World Cup, and we won the World Cup in India. India won that World Cup. And all the 4 matches, you must have received approximately 10 crores of rupees.
And they all made a loss?
They all made a loss.
Chetan Chauhan, how do you answer that specific point? That 55 matches were played in the last 10 years, and each and every one of them made a loss. Yet Justice Mudgal comes in, hosts one match at very short notice and makes a 2 crore profit. Kirti Azad is openly saying that those 55 matches that made a loss because of corruption and mismanagement by the DDCA. How do you defend yourself?
See, let me get the facts right. One, we have not made a profit of 2 crores in the test match between India and South Africa. The match is more or less even. The profit would be, I don't know, maybe 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs. That's one. Two, I will have to really go back again to all these accusations whether we have made. I don't think we have made any loss in these matches, and but I will have to go back to and get the figures right. See,
I should point out, Mr. Chauhan, that Kirti Azad says that every one of the earlier 55 matches over the last 10 years, every single match made a loss. Are you disputing that fact?
I don't think, I really don't know where he's got all these figures from. As I said, I will have to definitely verify. Maybe we'll go back to the balance sheet. Now, I don't have the balance sheet right now, but we will definitely go back to these figures. And for myself, I would like to definitely check this as to whether we really made any losses. But from the face of it, I don't think we made any loss.
Very quickly on this question.
More or less the games were
and
equal.
Give me a short, sharp answer.
The same.
Are you absolutely certain those 55 matches that every single one of them made a loss?
The AGM meeting, the audited accounts show that. I don't show it.
So
it's
this
the
is a
DDC
fact?
papers that they say it. I don't say it. Why do you think?
Let me stop you there. You've just heard, Chetan Chauhan, that your AGM and your own auditor are proof that each and every one of those 55 matches made a loss. Are you sure you need to verify your facts? Because he's just given them to you as a fact.
I will definitely do that, Karan, because because I was not handling finance before. I was only looking after the cricket part, but now that this information has come, I will definitely would like to verify this, inspect these.
You're suggesting, Mr. Chauhan, that until you heard this information from Kirti Azad this evening, you didn't know about it?
Very innocent.
Well, as I said, I was not looking after the finance before.
Okay.
But now that you've raised this kind of, I didn't have this information that this kind of question would be asked.
All right, let's move on. Kirti Azad, amongst the other accusations and allegations on that 23 list, which again I'm holding up for the audience, you state that the Kotla land belongs to the L&DO, but you add that the DDCA no longer has a valid signed lease from the L&DO permitting use of the land. How sure are you they don't have a valid signed lease? Because that's a critical problem.
So this is a letter from the LNDO which has sent them notices. And very conveniently, they have avoided writing in this that they have sent them notices for unauthorized construction. When I asked them, they say, well...
We'll come to unauthorized construction in a moment. First, your point about not having a valid signed lease.
Sir, here it is.
That letter proves they don't have a valid signed lease?
Yes, sir.
May
I read a paragraph?
Yes, go ahead, very quickly.
Sir, it says the DDCA have not reverted to us after fulfilling these conditions for formalizing the lease deed in spite of reminders issued on 7th June 2007, 3rd March 2008, 11th August 2008, 18th December 2008, 5th November 2009 to complete the requisite formalities so that lease deed could be signed giving effect from the date of 1st April 2002.
Chetan Chauhan, the key point Kirti Azad is meeting is one that I want to summarize for you. He says that the last valid lease with the L&DO expired in 2002. Since then, all you have is a letter stating that you will be given a lease provided A, B, C, and D are done. But those conditions have never been fulfilled, and therefore a new lease has never been given to you. And that means that for the last 14 years, you've been utilizing land for a stadium for which you don't have a valid signed lease.
Well, I agree that there is no signed lease, but the fact is that the land has been allotted to the DDCA for 33 years in 2002. And there was some kind of dispute going on between the LNDO and the DDCA, because they were asking, partly it was based on the lease amount and partly it was on the profit. Now, because there used to be confusion about this, we went back and then the discussions took place. Now the amount has been decided as 24,64,000. That would be the annual lease amount, which is being, and only today we have paid 82 lakhs, around 82 lakhs, and that is the full amount of the lease which was outstanding. And I'm sure we will get the NOC, and I'm sure we have moved into into getting the lease signed.
Now you make a second point, Kirti Azad, in that list of 23 accusations. You say that when the construction at Kotla happened, it happened without approvals from the LNDO or the municipal authorities. In other words, the stadium that was built has been built without the requisite approvals. How sure are you of that point?
Sir, Karan, if they had built it according to the sanctioned building plans and taken all permissions, they wouldn't have to run to the court for the last 16 years asking for provisional occupation certificate. There is no provision in the municipal laws or bylaws of provisional occupation certificate. You remove poor people, jhuggi dwellers, just recently from a railway colony.
Before you go into details, the point you're making is this, that because they have to get from the courts provisional occupation certificates, this proves that what they've constructed was constructed without approval. Is that the point?
Very true, otherwise they should have got the permissions. Why haven't they been able to get completion certificate?
How do you answer that point, Chetan Chauhan, that proof that you don't have the requisite approvals for the stadium you've constructed either from the LNDO or from the municipal authorities is that A, you have to keep running to the courts to get provisional occupation certificates, and the second proof, as Samir Bahadur, Kirti Azad's colleague, has told me, is that you've never got a completion certificate for the work you've done. Have you built without approvals?
Well, see, you think anybody can build a stadium without approval? The plans were sanctioned in 2010. There was some problem with the area, and the extra area which was covered, we paid 14,000 rupees as compounding fees, and that has been going on since then. And we have been asking for a completion certificate. Then there was this problem of DOAC and UTPEC. Now we have already spoken to the DOAC people, also to the UTPEC people. I'm sure the work which they were asking us, that's 1% of the project cost. We have contacted the DOAC, we have appointed, we are in the process of appointing the artist, that artwork, and
that you don't
I think
have a completion certificate for that stadium at Kotla. Is that a fact?
Yeah, it is a fact, but we are in the process of getting that that work done. It is only on the 23rd of last month they said there were some deviations from the plan. They have given out a list to us, which we are rectifying.
Okay.
And the work has already started. The work has already started, and I'm sure once this work is completed, we will get the completion certificate.
Kirti Azad, you have another critical point to make about the construction and work done to create that new stadium. You say that the cost escalated from 24 crores to the present figure of 141 crores. But you claim that the DDCA board only approved the first 24 crores. Thereafter, all the further enhancements have happened without board approval. Now, once again, how sure and confident are you of this claim?
Sir, I have got the minutes book from the time the stadium renovation or building was started, or they had planned. There's only one approval of 24 crores for EPIL. They were sealed during the Honorable Supreme Court's unauthorized construction time.
What happened after that? You're saying all the other enhancements and therefore all the other construction happened without approval.
Sir, without approval. They had taken permission for 2 tiers and started building 3 tiers. When at that time the Metropolitan Magistrate, on the orders of the Honorable Supreme Court, had sealed the premises of DDCA and 39 lakh idle labour was paid.
Because the work was happening without approval. Is that why it was sealed?
Yes, because unauthorized construction was taking place, which the notices I have with me.
Chetan Chauhan, how do you answer that point, that you have only got approval from your own board for the first 24 crores of construction? Thereafter, all the enhancements, all the way to 141 crore, which is what Kirti Azad says is the present figure, all those enhancements have happened without your board's approval, as a result of which, at some stages, your construction has also been sealed because it's unauthorized.
See, this figure which he is talking and the facts which are giving, they are untrue, because originally we were going to construct only the first floor, and that is how the cost of it was 25 or 27 crores. Subsequently, we decided to build the second floor and the third floor, and also the players block, and because of that the cost of the project increased to 57.40, around 57 crores.
But did you get board approval for those enhancements?
Got this figure that it has not been improved.
But Mr. Chauhan, did you get board approval for the additional construction and the enhancement beyond the original 24 crores? Or did that happen without board approval?
Of course it is there. No, it is all there. It is there in the balance sheet also. These figures are there in the balance sheet.
And the balance sheet
have been signed by all the 24 directors, including the government directors.
So you have formal board approval for all the enhancements in construction.
How can one say that it is not approved? No, Karan, these figures are also there in the AGM. These figures are all there. The balance sheet is there. The annual report is there. Everything is there, and it is there in the figures which are there.
As you speak, Mr. Chauhan, Kirti Azad is holding up for the cameras documents which unfortunately can't be read, but which I suppose suggest and prove his point that there is no board approval. So are you insisting and in maintaining that board approval for all the enhancements did happen?
Yes, of course. And that is how the directors have signed the balance sheet. All these figures are there in the balance sheet.
In other words, the directors would not have signed unless there was board approval.
Balance sheet, that means they have the approval of the board.
All right, let's move on.
Just a minute.
Very quickly.
This is the minutes book I have with me. I give it to you. You find me the approval, the only first one for 24 crores of UPIL, and after that, anything on escalation cost.
Let's leave that aside. Your story and your version about lack of approvals is disputed by Chetan Chauhan, who says that the directors signed off on the balance sheets, which he says is proof they approved. Let's leave that.
The minutes don't say it.
Let's leave that for evidence later on to emerge to sort out. Let's move on. You also, in your list of 23 accusations, make very strong allegations against the DDCA's auditor Sanjay Bhardwaj. In a letter that you've written, Arun Jaitley, on the 13th of September 2015, you claim that Sanjay Bhardwaj is being prosecuted by the government in the 30 Hazari courts under case number 215/3 for manipulating and window dressing accounts. Your colleague Samir Bahadur has told me that the Institute of Chartered Accountants has separately confirmed Sanjay Bhardwaj's alleged professional misconduct.
Very true.
These are very serious points.
Very true, sir.
My question is this. Are you saying that the DDCA has deliberately and knowingly retained and continued to retain an allegedly corrupt accountant?
He has been changing names since 2008, and he is being reappointed. We also pointed it out in our meeting in 2011-12 AGM, saying don't reappoint him, but he was reappointed. We got the minutes out. We wrote to the Registrar of Companies. Mr. Bishan Singh Bedi was also there at the time. We had opposed it. The ROC saw merit in the matter, and the case was registered in the 30 Hazari.
Very quickly before I go to Chetan Chauhan, why do you think, or why do you suspect the DDCA is deliberately retaining a man you claim to be allegedly corrupt, and that they know he's corrupt and yet they retain him? Why do you think that's happening?
Because he knows where the skeletons are, in whose cupboard they are there. So
in other words, they can't afford not to retain him because otherwise he would squeal.
Squeal, yeah. Simple as that.
Chetan Chauhan, let me ask you a factual question first. Is the DDCA aware that the government is prosecuting Sanjay Bhardwaj? And secondly, are you aware that allegedly the Institute of Chartered Accountants has supposedly corroborated his misconduct? And if you're aware of this, why are you retaining the man?
Karan, there are lots of cases pending in the court. You mean to say if a matter goes to the court, the man is guilty? The man is not guilty till he is found guilty. Let the cases be over. Let the court give a decision or a judgment prosecuting the man. All right. Once the judgment comes out, we take note of it. See,
that's a very honourable sentiment, Mr. Chauhan. But you must have heard the phrase that Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. Surely, to an accountant who verifies your financial matters, that applies even more. Yet you're happy to have as an accountant a man who not only faces serious charges in court of manipulation and window dressing, but who allegedly the very Institute of Chartered Accountants has corroborated as being corrupt. Don't you find that strange?
Karan, we have not heard anything like this. The association has not heard anything like this. We have got no communication like this. We have got nothing in writing. So how do we presume that these cases are genuine cases and the man will be prosecuted? How do we know this? Yes, let a communication come from anywhere, either the Institute of Chartered Accountants or from the court, and I can assure you, once we get any communication like this, we will act accordingly.
All right. Now, Kirti Azad, in your letter of 13 September 2015 written to Arun Jaitley, you claim that the DDCA has recruited more people than it needs, who as a result are being paid without doing any work. I'm going to quote from that letter. Anybody could recruit anybody, even without necessary qualifications for the job, without seeking the Executive Council's approval. The result is that there are 60 peons in DDCA today without any work. Are you sure of those facts?
Yes, very much sure. There are 105 overall, out of which 60 are peons. And
how do you know they have no job to do?
Because they just sit idle there.
But how do you know that?
How do I know that? Everybody knows it. It's not only me. It's just a very small little thing.
Is this surmise rather than a fact?
Because many of them work in the house of these people.
But is this a surmise you're making because you haven't seen the peons working, therefore they have no work to do? Because quite often people sit around and everyone assumes they've got no work to do.
No, but because we know it. We've gone into it. If we can have the minutes and everything, we come to know from the very own old people who've been working there.
So this is a fact that the DDCA is deliberately employing people, paying the money and knowing they have no work to do.
And allegedly they are working in the residence of various directors.
All right, Chetan Chauhan, what's your defense? The charge is that you're deliberately employing people, knowing that there is no work for them to do, wasting money on that employment, and in addition, Kirti Azad adds, many of these peons are actually working in the homes of your colleagues and your directors.
I really don't know if any of these people who are employed by the DDCA, they are working at the homes of the directors. I'm not sure about this. But let me also say this.
Forgive me, I'm interrupting. I'm interrupting, Mr. Chauhan. Are you saying you're not sure but these people could be working in the homes of directors? In other words, it's possible they're working in the homes of directors, you're just not sure whether they are or not. Are you really saying that?
Then I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't know. I'll have to again check this. If there are people who are working at the homes of the directors, I will have to. But as far as my knowledge goes, I don't think anybody is there. But yes, if there are any extra people
You don't sound very reassuringly confident about what you're saying to me. And that lack of confidence suggests that not only could this be the case, that peons employed by DDCA are actually working in the homes of DDCA directors. That is a worrying situation, because that clearly suggests something wrong happening.
I don't think anybody is working at the homes of the directors. I don't think so.
All right.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
I applaud your honesty for actually saying that you're not sure, you need to check, and you don't think so. But behind that honesty is a worrying possible admission that what Kirti is saying is correct. And that's what I'm coming back to you again. You, in a way, by default, are almost confirming the allegation he's making.
See, if there are any extra people, what we are doing is we have these league matches and other matches. We are deputing them for these matches also. We are putting them on duty.
There is no league match.
But these people were employed as peons, not to be extra staff at league matches.
In the homes of the directors.
And also, league matches don't happen every day. They only happen occasionally.
But they happened this year. Have they happened this year?
All right, gentlemen, we've reached a point where I think a break is essential. I'm going to come back, Mr. Chauhan and Kirti Azad, and talk to you about the accusations leveled against Arun Jaitley by Kirti Azad when Jaitley was president of the DDCA for a period that amounts to practically 15 years. Stay with us for the second part of this interesting debate. Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. We're presenting a unique debate between Kirti Azad and Chetan Chauhan on the allegations Kirti Azad has leveled against the DDCA. Kirti Azad is the former, now suspended BJP MP, and the man who's made the accusations. Today, he in fact moved a case in the High Court against the DDCA. Chetan Chauhan is the working president of the DDCA, and he has already moved a civil defamation case against Kirti Azad, and he plans to move a criminal defamation case in the next couple of days. Gentlemen, let's come to the accusations you make against Arun Jaitley. In your letter of the 13th of September 2015, you claim, and I'm quoting you, at least 300 letters, mails, messages were sent to him by you and others, and he did not even acknowledge them. Are you saying that Mr. Jaitley has deliberately turned a blind eye to the alleged wrongdoings you were trying to bring to his attention?
Well, I have reasons to believe. If you're not replying to the letters that I'm writing to you, informing you about the fraud that is taking place in DDCA, obviously it seems that you're just trying to overlook, or you're too busy to look at those letters.
Which do you think it is, too busy or deliberately overlooking?
No, if he was too busy, why would he reply to a letter that I had written to the then General Secretary, SP Bansal, and to CK Khanna regarding the employees and others? He replied on their behalf, but never acknowledged a single letter that I wrote to him straight.
Chetan Chauhan, these letters, emails and messages were sent to Mr. Jaitley not in his personal capacity, but as president of the DDCA.
Correct.
Even if Mr. Jaitley didn't want to personally reply, surely propriety and courtesy at the minimum demanded that the DDCA itself should have responded. Why did that not happen?
Karan, he is an honorable member of parliament. He belongs to the same party as Mr. Jaitley, and I'm sure he can easily walk across into his office and talk to him personally. That is the best way of, if he's not getting any replies, I think that's the best way, and getting things sorted out. That's the best way I can think of.
Well, I take your point that Kirti Azad could have walked into Mr. Jaitley's office to ask Mr. Jaitley, why haven't you replied? But the question I'm asking you is a little different. The letters were sent to Arun Jaitley not in his personal capacity, but as president of the DDCA. Propriety demands you reply, but if you don't want to reply yourself, surely someone else in the DDCA could have. Because Kirti Azad was writing as a former cricketer, as an MP, and therefore he's not just an Aam Aadmi interfering and writing letters. Surely his status alone demanded the DDCA should have replied to him.
See, Karan, all that I can say is that, it'll be better if this question is put across to Mr. Jaitley directly. I'm sure he must be having his own reasons for not replying. The best thing would be, I think, if the question is put to him.
Absolutely, I take your point that this is a question only Mr. Jaitley can adequately reply, but I'm putting it to you because you are in fact the working president of the DDCA. Let's move on. With reference to Arun Jaitley's claim that the serious frauds investigation that looked into these allegations only found technical errors which were deemed compoundable, the press release that you issued on the 28th of January, that's just 3 days ago, says that first, the compounding was done by a company law board, Lok Adalat. in which a former counsel of the DDCA, a man called UK Chaudhary, was made a member, and therefore supposedly this Lok Adalat was biased. And secondly, you say that the Delhi High Court has stayed the
5th of
compounding.
January.
Now, I'm told that of the 60 issues that the company law board, Lok Adalat, said were compoundable, only 14 have been stayed, which means 46 have been deemed to be correctly compounded.
No. If somebody goes and again files a case, I think all of them will be stayed.
How do you know that?
I know that because infractions of law, it's very simple to say minor irregularities. Irregular means not regular, which means a fraud. Whether it's a fraud of 1 rupee or a 1 crore rupees. A fraud is a fraud. And even the SFIO report, the answer that was given to me in the parliament when I had asked this question, they said the SFIO will look into it. It was diluted. So we must go and ask the then Prime Minister as to who was colluding with him, who was in hand in glove with him, and he diluted the entire thing. And SFIO had only one junior officer, and it was managed by the Regional Director North, which is a breach of privilege of a member of parliament when you ask a question in parliament.
Chetan Chauhan, Kirti Azad's colleague Sameer Bahadur has said that even if the other 46 lapses are challenged, they will be stayed. In other words, the compounding of the other 46 lapses, if it's challenged, will be stayed. You've just heard Kirti Azad make precisely the same point in studio. The question I want to put to you is this. If Kirti Azad and Sameer Bahadur turn out to be correct, and the other 46 compoundings is also stayed, then Arun Jaitley's defense that these are only minor lapses and that they are compoundable will be completely undermined. That was his key defense. But if that defense is stayed, then the defense vanishes.
But see, I don't want to presume anything. Let me make it very clear. The SFIO has investigated, has carried out the inspections, not one person but many people, and these people were from different departments. And this inquiry which has taken place has not taken place during the rule of the BJP. This inquiry has taken place in the rule of another party, and the people, they were all different, and well, the report has come, and all those minor problems which were there, they were all compoundable, and that is the reason they are being compounded.
14 of the 60 minor problems, as you call them, had their compoundability stayed on the 5th of January, that's just 25 odd days ago, by the Delhi High Court. So clearly, of those 14, the High Court's opinion was they're not minor, which is why the compoundability was stayed.
Well, if the matter is in the court, I would say I would not like to comment on it, because the matter is sub judice, so I would not like to comment on that. Well, as I said, you know, these were minor problems. They were pointed out and they are being rectified. And not only they have been rectified, after that, you know, we have brought in some financial discipline, and the other there is our committees, a finance committee.
Yes, but let's stick to let's not divert ourselves and talk about what you've done after the problems were noticed. I'm talking about the problems themselves as they exist. You want to say something quickly?
Yeah, you see, in the law, it says that if you do this kind of a fraud, you will be compounded. That's very much civil in nature. You have done fraud of crores of rupees and given money to fake companies. And then once you're caught, you go and get compounding done. So you earn in crores, compound in thousands. What better place than this legal institute of corruption, which is DDCA?
On that particular point, I want to quote from your letter once again of 13th September 2015 to Arun Jaitley.
But there was
you write, no, the letter of 13th September 2015. You write, and I'm quoting, "It is clear that nearly 25 crore was swindled in each of the years when your management was in power."
Correct.
Now, Mr. Jaitley, both as president and as chief patron, if you combine the two, was in power for 15 years.
True.
Are you therefore suggesting that 375 crores was swindled during that period?
Yes. It went to companies, fake and dubious companies such as Koshnik Buildcast, Koshnik Fab, Spacon India, Kateria Electricals, which is an Italian company. Italian means eete par baithne wala.
You sure this is not libelous because you're naming companies?
Sir, I am telling you because we did a sting. We had a press conference. We showed it that these are companies with fake names or fake addresses.
So
that is all there on record.
But you're saying
it was every year 20 to 25 crores of rupees was being swindled. Only 2.5 to 3 crores of rupees, out of which many went into the pockets of those who were organizing it. It is basically for cricket, but the swindling was taking place.
Chetan Chauhan, the charge is that at least 375 crores have been swindled during the 15 years when Arun Jaitley was either president or chief patron and the management under him was in power. That's the minimum quantum of swindling according to Kirti Azad's accusation.
Karan, I really don't know where he's bringing all these figures from. They are highly exaggerated because the subsidy which we get from the board and our income works out to about 23, around below 25 crores a year. So I don't know how these figures are being brought out. So I'm really amazed about this.
That's a very fair point he's making. How do you come to this figure of 25 crores each year for 15 years?
Sir, Karan, 25 to 30 crores, they get subvention. That is what he's calling a subsidy. Is subvention. Actually, you should know what the actual word is. Apart from that, they get 8 crores of rupees for hosting the IPL and 5 crores for TV rights.
So how do you come to the conclusion of 25 crore per year swindling?
Because you only spend 3 crores of rupees for cricket. Rest of the money, where is it going? There's no construction, big construction taking place. So it's going to these fake companies. And it is being round-tripped.
How do you know it wasn't used for the enhancement of the construction, which you yourself admit went up from 24 to 141 crore?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you. Fact-finding committee, which was their own committee, Mr. Chetan Chauhan knows it. The sitting directors, they said that these companies are fraud companies and the monies have gone through them. And let Mr. Chauhan say, I have great regards for him, I'm not fighting with him, he's my senior, we played test match together. Let him say that that report is not there.
Okay, Chetan Chauhan, I'm coming to the end of this particular debate and discussion. I want to bring to your notice something that you know, that on the 23rd of October, the CBI, in a letter, formally informed the DDCA that they had instituted a preliminary inquiry. Now, I accept that a preliminary inquiry is not an FIR. And at the moment, as I ask the question, Kirti Azad is holding up for the audience a copy of that letter of the 23rd of October sent by the CBI to the DDCA. As I said, I accept a PE is not an FIR, but it is a clear indication that the charges raised by Kirti Azad and others have some possible merit and need to be investigated. Does the fact that the CBI, at a time when the CBI comes under the control of Mr. Modi's government, is instituting a PE against you and the DDCA, does that worry you?
Well, see, yes, the inquiry is going on. Now, besides the CBI, we've got an ROC inquiry going around. And we have been answering, they have been asking us questions, they have been asking for information, which we are giving out to them. And we will wait for the results to come of the inquiry.
Absolutely, but you and I have no choice but to wait for the results to come. There's nothing we can do. But in the meantime, the question still stays. Are you worried that the CBI is instituting an inquiry at a time when the CBI comes under the Modi government? And remember, the CBI is thought by the Supreme Court to be a caged parrot. Yet this parrot is defying the hand that holds it and is very much carrying out an inquiry into allegations that include allegations against the finance minister of the day. Does that worry you?
See, let's not cast aspersions on the biggest or the highest investigating authority of the country. I would not like to say anything like this. Yeah, of course, it's not a happy situation. Let us be honest. Yes, we are facing this inquiry and we are answering whatever inquiries or whatever information they are seeking. We are definitely replying to those.
Chetan Chauhan, I want to put one more question to you. I'll begin by applauding you for appearing on this show. I will begin by applauding you for your honest, transparent answers. But the question is this: many of your answers, my impression is that perhaps most of your answers have been tentative, They've said that you don't know, you have to investigate whether the allegation being made against you is true, thus suggesting that it could be true. On the particular issue where the peons are wrongly employed and working in the homes of directors, you said you don't think that's the case, but you need to check into it. You said something similar when you were told that perhaps 55 matches over 10 years haven't made a single profit, they've all made losses. Again, you said, I need to check into it. You hadn't heard this fact before. People might walk away with the impression that you're a very honest, transparent man, but you don't have answers to what Kirti Azad is alleging and accusing your DDCA of. Are you worried that in your transparency, you might have indicated a certain amount of culpability?
See, as far as you pews and being employed in the house of the director, see, we have a machine, thumb impression machine. So anybody, you know, they all have to come there. You see, they have to register their attendance. I don't think anybody is going there, and I don't think anybody is not attending the office. They're all there. You see, and as far as the corruption things are there, see, a lot of things, they are exaggerated. They are exaggerated, and they are not facts actually.
The impression, and I come back to that you may have left, I emphasize the word may, is that the DDCA has a lot to answer. And that while some of Kirti's details and facts may not be accurate, nonetheless he's prized open a can of worms. You've given the impression on both counts that he's prized open a can of worms and the DDCA has a lot to answer. Do you worry that you may have given that impression, which seems to corroborate the allegations against you?
Against the DDCA, not him.
I don't think so. Whatever I've answered very honestly, and there is always scope for improvement in any organization. There is scope for improvement here too, and we are making sincere efforts in improving. And whatever these, if there are any, as I said, there is always scope for improvement.
Okay.
If there are any anomalies, if there are any shortcomings, in the last 1.5 years or so, we are making all-out efforts. A lot of things have been corrected, as I said.
Okay.
One is that LNDO matter has been solved. We had dispute with the MCD for the property tax. There are lots of cases going on.
I don't like interrupting your last answer, but I've run right out of time. But before I end, I want to once again thank you for agreeing to appear on this show, applaud you for your transparency and honesty, but suggest once again, that your honesty and transparency might go against you because you may have left the impression that there is substance, or at least some substance, to Kirti Azad's allegations, and that the DDCA has things it cannot account for and cannot fully answer for. My thanks to both of you for joining me, and if you have been, thanks for watching. Goodbye, good night.